Welcome to Advanced Nurses. We connect with nurses who inspire other nurses by sharing their experiences. And so we're able to bring that information to you. Hi, I'm the educational consultant with ACD4N, and I'm here with HumbleStartWill. First of all, you have an awesome platform. I love what you're talking about. I love the authenticity. I love the fact that you have been able to captivate and grow an audience. And so, before we start, just talking about your online presence, I wanted to first find out about your background. What led you into nursing, and what are you currently doing now?
All righty. So I'm Will, known as Humble Star Will by a lot of people. My background, so from an education standpoint, I have my BSN, so my Bachelor's in Science in Nursing, which is a four-year degree. What led me into nursing, I always knew I wanted to help people, so I wanted a career path where I could help people, and nursing was a great pathway for that. However, I don't want to just say that that was the only reason why I picked nursing, because I feel like we as men, black men in general, or just people in general, we have to make decisions that will lead us in directions in the future. So I know that I wanted more stability. I knew that I wanted a career path where I can have flexibility. I can switch things up, but I had a great foundation, even financially as well. So I decided on nursing. It just fit perfect. Like I said, it checked off all of my boxes. I didn't really know much going into it, like what it consisted of, but I just know it checked off my non-negotiables. So that led into my content creation, which I've been doing content for, man, since I was a kid. Like the beginning of YouTube, I used to just be on there doing all the type of different things. So it just kind of came full circle. So that led me into creating my digital platform, where I felt like I had a voice, and I wanted to be the voice of inspiration of people that are thinking about the medical field. Because when I was thinking about the medical field, like I said, I had no idea what it consisted of. It felt like it was kind of gate-kept. And then being a man, everybody, I mean, it was like a negative stereotype or a negative look at men going into the medical field. They were like, oh, that's a woman's job, or what are you doing? You're taking care of people that doesn't fit you. So I wanted to break that stigma and be the voice for people coming up behind me. And also, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, investor. So I just wanted to be the person that people can see and say, hey, even though I do this, or even though I'm from this background, even though I dealt with this, I can still be in the medical field. I can still be a professional person. So that's a bit about me coming from St. Louis, Missouri. It's smaller, so it can be kind of a closed mindset. So it's either you go the sports route, or you stay home and do blue collar, or be an entrepreneur, which a lot of people are. But I just wanted to be the person to show that that is not the only route. It's a lot of other things we can do. We are great, brilliant people. We just have to kind of tap into that side of us.
Like, have you had those aha moments that you're like, you know what, this is the reason why men need more men, and specifically more black men should come into nursing?
100%, 100%. So going back to kind of my origin story, I was in college. I played basketball in high school, and was awarded a scholarship to play in college. So I feel like I was kind of similar to a lot of our young men. Like, hey, I played sports all my life. Of course, I was great in terms of my academics. Like, I graduated magna cum laude out of high school, but I couldn't see my life outside of sports. So I got to college, and then I just had an epiphany, just going into a different environment, going into a new setting, just seeing what life really was and what it could be. So as a man going into a healthcare arena where it's little to none, especially being a black man. I think in nursing, we're less than 6%. So, of course, it's a lot of people that have their own thoughts on what you should do, how you should live your life. But I'm always a big advocate of two men to say, don't allow anybody to put you in a box that masculinity looks like this or whatever they try to present it as. You are your own person and you do what you feel like is right for you because you don't know where you can start or where it can lead you. But the aha moment for me, I would say just being a male and being a travel nurse as well, because I spent majority of my career as a travel nurse, going to these different areas, predominantly black areas, working in public city hospitals or county hospitals or the VA, so that's the Veterans Affairs, the hospital that's solely for veterans. You see a lot of men that are in distress. You see a lot of men that don't prioritize their health. And they sometimes don't feel heard. And it's not specifically because they're not receiving care, but a lot of the times they don't have somebody that they feel like they can relate to or they can see their self as. So when you are that person or you can be that voice, for example, they might say, oh, this person is labile, this person, it can be verbally abusive. But coming from where I come from, that's just, I understand that's just how that person talks. They may not use big words or medical jargon, or sometimes they may even curse, but that's just how they talk. That's how they talk. They're not being aggressive. So for you to be able to notice that, feel that, and understand that they feel heard, and then they like, hey, I need to prioritize this. This is the first time that somebody has actually broke this down for me where I can understand. So you being a man or a male in healthcare is so many people that need you. So I always emphasize it. Hey, don't allow anybody to box you in. It's a space for you. And if it's healthcare, law, engineering, it could be across any career path, you are needed, because like I said, with us being less than 6%, just imagine the population of people that need you.
Wow. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with so many of the things you highlighted. I know I had a stint where I worked at for an organization that helped veterans with housing, but I was actually the nurse that was helping them with managing their care and doing care coordination. And probably was the first time I actually worked for like a well coordinated system. Even when I went to graduate school, I remember my experience working. At the time, I was still doing that job working with veterans. So I wrote a lot about the experience when I was in graduate school. It actually helped me to understand the experiences of like underserved populations or special populations.
Absolutely.
Because when you're working with veterans, you're working with a group of people who have a lot of the same experiences, and many of them having like mental health issues, like, and or even, interesting enough, some of them really don't like the VA system, and so they feel so disconnected to their health care that my role was really about keeping them on like the pathway of like wellness and keeping them connected with their system, like, within the system. So how they use like that pack team model, whereas like everybody, like the psychiatrist, the PCP, and everybody like works collaboratively along with like those nurses. Even I've even heard of some nurses telling me that they even had some nurses through certain VA, I guess, offices or whatever, they would actually have some of them, and I'm specifically talking about the VAMC, right? Medical centers. They would have nurses go out into the homes, do home visits. So, what you're saying is, well, you're right. They need people who can understand them, especially the men, and especially if they've had experiences that left them either widowed, like they're a single man, they don't have they're not married, they don't have a partner or somebody in the house to help them with their care, they can really go off the radar. And also another unfortunate thing, I noticed with veteran population is homelessness
Yes.
is a big issue with them, and sometimes even substance abuse if the mental health is not being properly managed, which makes it even more difficult for nurses. So thank you for the work you did in that space. I know it was very dynamic work. It had probably transformative for you. Are you in? If I heard you, that was in your past work, right? You're not doing that right now.
No, so currently I am per diem with multiple systems. So
Oh, I
per
love
diem,
it. Lock it.
yes. So people that don't really know what per diem is or PRN is as needed. However, you have the ability to work as little or as much as you like. So the minimum is 4 shifts a month. So I have to work 4 shifts a month, but I have the ability to work up to 30 days or beyond if that's what the hospital needs. So I decided on going that route just to give myself a little more flexibility. Like I said, I'll create content, I invest, run businesses and things like that. So I needed all of that. I feel like if I can make my schedule how I like, and I also like to do things in my leisure time as well. I'm not just work, 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 because I feel like in nursing it's very important to have a balance. So I love traveling. I've been to over 15 countries, things of that nature. So with the flexibility of per diem, it just fit me. And then you also get a little extra pay as well, and that never hurts.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's what this industry is made of. You got to get that dollar.
Oh
And
yeah.
with per diem, I always enjoy the flexibility of if you wanted to do like a long vacation, you
Mhm.
can do that, because you can create your own schedule.
Yes.
So one of the questions that comes to mind is like, what kind of skills do you think most nurses need? And this could be even for non-traditional roles. And when I say
Okay.
non-traditional, traditional would be bedside, right, patient facing, versus like non-traditional. As you may know, nursing is very dynamic. Nurses do all kinds of stuff. Some nurses don't even touch a patient. So, like, what kind of skills do you believe most nurses need?
Yep, in terms of skills, I think first off, communication skills are key because like I kind of went through previously, 9 times out of 10, you are communicating directly with your patient. You are relaying the message 9 times out of 10. You're updating them on the care plan. You're adjusting in the care plan or reaching out to the doctor on, hey, this isn't looking right, or hey, we need to move forward on this. This is their goals, and how they want their care to be provided. So the communication skills is very important. I mean, it's been time and time again where, like I said, I broke things down with my patient, talked to them on their educational level or how they can understand, and you could just see the light up in them light up, and they're like, wow, I really understand now. So now I feel more comfortable going home, taking care of myself, doing better for myself and my family. I also think being a nurse in the traditional or non-traditional route is very important to be adaptive, have adaptive skills, and have flexibility because nursing changes so often. For example, I started nursing during 2020, so that was the heap of COVID, and that was events that the world has never seen. So I remember times we just had to be on our toes and be ready to change because it was a point we didn't even know how to care for COVID. So we had to, okay, work on this PPE, make sure we're protecting ourselves in this form of fashion. I was in the ICU, so we're paralyzing and proning people. So going through a lot of traumatic experiences and traumatic events. So you have to be just on your feet and willing to adapt with your setting, especially being a travel nurse as well. You're going to these different areas, and if they're bringing in travelers, It's because 9 times out of 10 they're struggling with staffing. So sometimes you have to already know in your mind that I'm going into a hard situation. A lot of times, sadly, even though you're coming to assist the hospital, some other employees don't look at it like that. Sometimes people can think like, hey, you're taking money out of my pocket. So you have to be ready for, like, I would say, be ready for what may be ahead of you. If that's external sources where you may have issues. I also feel sometimes nurses, we know a lot. We are very educated. We are very fit for the job or fit for whatever situation. But a skill that's non-traditional skill is sometimes just keeping your mouth closed. Keeping your mouth closed, not getting involved in the drama, the different fiascos that's going on in the setting. Understand that, hey, I'm coming here to provide care for my patient, make my money, and get out. Let everything else handle itself. Because sometimes we can see situations and we want to change or adjust everything. But you have to understand that it's systems in place for you to follow. This is not, hey, you come here and freelance and do what you feel like should be done. You have to adjust to the system and still do your job and your duty. So those are a couple skills in the job, but I also want to talk about skills outside of the job. Something that we kind of touched on earlier is we need to learn the skills on I'll say financial literacy skills, because we have the vehicle, being nursing, and the ability to make this money, save money, and invest. However, if we don't have the knowledge or the skill set, we're just saving, and you can't save yourself into financial freedom. You have to learn to invest. You have to learn to contribute into these different places. You need to learn into what the market looks like, the stock market, if that's the real estate market, if that's investing in your own business or entrepreneurship. You have to use nursing as the vehicle to do other things, but it takes a skill set and the education to do that.
Wow. You said magna cum laude. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yep. You know, I was just saying something earlier, similar to someone earlier. She actually is an attorney, but I was expressing to her that oftentimes with nurses, we don't. Sometimes we don't know how smart we are or how good we are at problem solving. And I always challenge nurses to kind of step outside of their comfort zone, because when nurses are problem solving and collaborating with other industries, oftentimes I think that that's the time when those nurses realize, like, oh wow, I didn't realize how much of the skills I acquired as a nurse is allowing me to be successful in other areas. And then also the income that I'm getting out of, being a nurse. Some people have this idea they're going to be nurses forever, and it's like, yeah, if your back go out, you got to switch it up. So that text talks, a bit about that flexibility you're talking about. So, being wise about, the kind of roles you take on, work-life balance, investments. I recently spoke to a couple nurses who actually, the couple and their nurses. The husband retired at 28, and the wife has worked a little bit longer, but she's retiring in probably the next week, and
Wow.
she's now retiring her her early 30s, and they do financial literacy education for nurses. Like, that's what they actually do.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I think some nurses really get it, and so hopefully more nurses, because you know how it is. Some nurses, they get that bag, and the first thing they do, beeline to the Gucci store, beeline to the Louis store, up at the
Yep.
BMW dealership, and not really even thinking about like, maybe I could invest, and maybe maybe I can go into real estate. Maybe I could, start a business. So thank you for that. That was great insight, great information. What do you think the future is of nursing? And I don't mind if you decide to talk about some of this recent drama that came about with this whole quote unquote professional degree thing. So
Mhm.
like, what do you see as the future of nursing? Um, for men, for black nurses, for nursing in general? Like, what do you see?
The future, I think the future is bright, and that may be against the opinions of a lot of people. I'm thinking specifically for nurses just because social media and us being in a digital age has provided insight and the voice for a lot of nurses or a lot of professions to give information or provide information that wasn't readily available. Like I said, when I was in school, I think I started college in 2016. I couldn't find out anything about nursing. It just wasn't available. So with more people aspiring and inspiring people to go into the field, I think it's bright from that standpoint. Of course, healthcare is it's a constant battle. It's like a pendulum trying to just going back and forth, trying to balance it or do what's best for the people. So I feel like we're always going to have some friction there, but people actually going into nursing, being interested in healthcare, like I just get showered with questions. Hey, and these are questions that probably years ago people didn't even know these career paths existed. So I mean like sonographers, MRI techs, radiology techs, nursing, associate's degree nursing, LPNs, LVNs, just get showered with questions like those daily. So I feel like it can be bright. And also with men as well, men in the nursing career path, I feel like it can be bright for them as well because they get to see somebody like, hey, just because I come from this background or I'm like this outside of work, it's still a space in healthcare for me, and I feel like that didn't exist. So I'm happy about what's ahead. Nursing is one of the careers that, well, physical nurses that are in the hospital setting, but nurses, just the nurse knowledge in general, we're pretty safe from artificial intelligence. So that's always a perk. Um, and with people learning more about the financial side of things, it also gives them another like motivation to go into the field, because a lot of people are not looking for anything crazy. They don't want to be rich. They just want stability. They just want a foundation, just because building upon a shaky foundation never works. So with nursing being that route, or healthcare in general, I feel like we can have a bright future, a bright future. We have to get some more programs because I know it's just the programs are overwhelmed, just with the sheer amount of people that are going that route. But I feel like we will adjust with time, and it only can get better from here.
You kind of sound like me. I'm pretty optimistic, even despite the, I would call clickbait, of the
Yeah.
nursing is no longer a profession. So many major news outlets led with that, especially on these like online newspaper outlets. They wanted that clickbait. Nursing is not a profession, and so many nurses, I felt like, rightfully so, felt that it was like a devaluing or some kind of, you know. I look at it this way. I think this may actually help nurses go that route of, yeah, it's a little longer, but I feel like go the LPN route, go get your BSN later, have your employer pay for it. And if you want to keep going up, you have your employer pay for it as much as they possibly can.
Hmm.
Or if you decide to go the the straight for your BSN, or even I went through a pretty interesting pathway. I went through a diploma program, and then later on, um, because I already had a bachelor's at the time, I
Okay.
went to a diploma program. And then when I went for my graduate degree, I was actually told, well, because you already have a bachelor's in something else along with your associates in nursing, it was so. Let me correct myself. It was a diploma program that partnered with a community college that gave the associates. So I actually accumulated credits, even though it was a small little diploma program. So when I finished, I had the diploma in nursing, but an associate's degree, because they also partnered with a college that had this done. A little small little nursing program in Trenton, New Jersey. So that was definitely one of those experiences
Yeah.
that I tell nurses. There's so many, or people interested in nursing, there's so many different pathways to get into nursing. You just want to make sure you're doing what is, you know, best for you financially. Um, and, and in some cases, if it's something that you really want, be willing to make that investment.
Absolutely.
And you and I both know there's no doctor or physician that wants to do the things that nurses do on top of everything that they also do.
Right.
So, like you said, it's a solid career, and it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And we don't need the validation from outsiders who don't really know what we do and
Exactly.
our impact. We don't need the
Yeah.
validation. So lastly, what are your future goals? Like, what is something that you're saying that you want for yourself as far as in nursing? I heard you mention something about ICU.
Mhm.
So I know a lot of people, once they mention that ICU, that CRNA is right there behind it. Are you considering that, or was that just like a part of your experience so far?
So that was a part of the journey. I actually started off in the ICU, fresh as a new grad. ICU personally, well, at that point, I felt like it didn't really fit my personality because I mean, I did great, but I'm a kind of calm, chill person. And in the ICU setting, especially during the heat of COVID, is absolutely no chill. So when I started traveling and everything, I felt more comfortable traveling, doing step down and med surge. So that's kind of where I've been at this point. I'm actually gonna give you some information that I haven't told anybody. This is just kind of something that I've been doing, something that I was working on. I actually was accepted into a nurse practitioner school starting January, psychiatric nurse practitioner program. However, I decided on deferring my admission just because I'm trying to figure some things out. I'm working through a lot of different things, and I'm trying to figure out or have a good roadmap on what nursing looks like for me. Because in the future, I feel like similar to what you're doing, like the education aspect of nursing, the guidance, the mentorship is very important. And it's lacking, especially in healthcare in general, in the Black community, and being a Black male, just being a double minority within the career is definitely needed. So I've been working through a lot of things, just trying to figure out what nursing looks like for me. But my digital platform has definitely gave me different lanes. So just more than just and I don't even want to say like the traditional route, because after you're in nursing, you can go so many different ways. But yeah, so I know the psychiatric side of life is very important. The educational side is very important as well. And I feel like nursing can tie all of that in. So still trying to figure it out. Still trying to figure it out. I know that I can fall back on school because I actually enjoy school. I'm a person that enjoys learning and enjoys like rigorous, like I know it sounds crazy, but like systems, like I'm very systematic. So if it's, hey, I have to do this or this needs to be completed by this time, that motivates me. So I feel like school's always in my back pocket, but I wanna explore the other opportunities that nursing provides before I lock in on one thing. Because I know just from being in nursing school, I understand the sacrifice and the commitment that's needed to get where you want to go.
Well, I'll accept that. I won't push it any further. Nursing is dynamic, but what I think what you just said is very wise. Although you had, you're accepted into an advanced program, you're going to take time to find out if you want to do that provider route. And if, that's something that you still want after some consideration, I would love to talk to you again if you decide to, just to see how that process looks for you.
Yeah.
I've spoken to other nurses who, started out very excited about that and then pulled back because it is, is a commitment, like you said, just like when we were, initially becoming nurses. Every nurse knows that the commitment to school sometimes can be unreal. And then clinicals, now you got bills to pay and everything. You're like, how am I gonna manage a full-time job and doing clinical? Like, this ain't back, when I first came in, so I think a lot of nurses wind up going through that cycle. Like, can I really do this? Should I be going back to school for anything? Not even just the provider route, just anything.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much for your time. And can you just let me know, and I'll leave it in the description, the different places that people can follow your, the listeners can follow your content, and anything you're going to be embarking on that you want to plug right now, you can as well.
Okay. Yep. So you can follow me on all platforms at HumbleStartWill. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube as well. I'm pretty much just kind of locked into those. I'm doing more long form content. Doing a lot of live engagements for people, and even doing like mentorship or like just like consultations to guide people. Those are something that I'm just doing in my free time, but majority of the time I'm mainly just posting the content, trying to spread awareness and kind of get people on this healthcare wave, because I understand what it has provided me and what it can provide us as a community.
We want to hear from you. Schedule a free consultation or send us an email at advancednurses@acd4n.com or visit our websites www.advancednurses.info or www.acd4n.com.